Running with the Wolves podcast on the Believe Sports Network. My name is Gabe Anderson, and if you're listening on Spotify, make sure to give us a like, share, and subscribe on YouTube, and a 5-star rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. We're trying to go to the moon and help us get there. So I know that there is a huge game tomorrow, as you know. Timberwolves taking on the Phoenix Suns in the first round of the playoffs. And I wasn't even planning on doing an episode tonight. I really wasn't. I wasn't planning on doing an episode. I was just going to cruise into tomorrow. But I was watching the Kings and Pelicans and thought, man, it's nice not to be in the play-in for once. So I had to do that. I had to come on and give a few thoughts. Now, I know a lot of Timberwolves fans are all doom and gloom right now. They're like, oh, the Suns are a tough matchup. They have Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and someone named Kevin Durant, and we have Towns guarding Grayson Allen. And I know we talked about in our series preview a couple days ago, I know we talked about all of that. You can go check out that episode. And I want to say, let's stop complaining a little bit, because let's look at the facts. The Timberwolves in franchise history have had a total, this will be the fourth home series for them where they have home court advantage. In those series, they are 2-1. In all of the other series, they are 0-9. And this is exactly what we wanted going into the season. I know fans are going to complain that it's a bad matchup, but look at this. What happened last year in the playoffs? Nas got hurt. Jane McDaniels got hurt. We lose to the Nuggets. But what do we have in this year's? We have a home playoff series, and not only that, we have a home playoff series, and everyone's healthy, unless you count Jalen Clark, who wasn't going to play anyway. We have a completely healthy team, ready to go, ready to make some waves against a very good Suns team. I mean, that is fantastic. That is exactly what we wanted. That's why I don't want to hear Wolves fans complaining about a matchup, because guess what? It's the playoffs. You got to beat absolutely everyone to make the playoffs. If the Suns are as good as everyone says that they are, and they really are that tough a matchup, we would have had to beat them anyway. I want to get that through your head. We would have had to match them anyway. And I know that it's easy to watch, for example, the Kings and Pelicans game that's going on right now. Obviously, I'm recording during it, so I don't know who is going to win the game. Right now, Sacramento is up by 2, but honestly, does that really matter in the second quarter? Not really. I think the Kings are going to win there. Would it be easier to go, hey, a first-round series against a Pelicans team, maybe without Zion, or a Kings team without Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter? Yeah, it would be easier. But hey, life ain't easy. Sometimes you got to take on the Giants straight on. And that's exactly what we're doing tomorrow. I know that Target Center is going to be absolutely electric for this game. I've been looking at ticket prices, decent tickets that would have ran you. Let's think back when the Wolves were garbage, like in 2009. Now, I know there's inflation too, but these tickets would have ran you probably $40 to sit way back when. They're going for $600 each, if not more, plus ticket fees. Minnesota is hungry for a win in the playoffs. And that's exactly what I want the Wolves to give them. So let's stop complaining about, oh, it's a tough matchup. Oh, if only we would have won this game. I mean, if we want to play that game, guess what? Here's a couple games that the Wolves should have won, and we wouldn't be in this situation. The Charlotte game, that should have absolutely been a win. The Dallas game in Dallas, I was there. We're up 106-100, blow it. The Celtics game, where we're up 9 with 2 minutes left to go, Lose that game. Win any of those games, you're not in this situation. But hey, you are in this situation, so let's go ahead and make the best of it. Let's have Karl Anthony Towns' best showing ever in the first round. Let's have Ant take the next leap against a guy like Kevin Durant. Wouldn't that be amazing to see Anthony Edwards outplay a guy like Devin Booker or Kevin Durant? Now, remember back in the day, I don't want to say back in the day, but a couple of years ago, when everyone thought, oh, the future is D'Lo, Cat, and Devin Booker because they're all friends. And then a guy named Ant came along, and that changed everything. Now, am I saying that Devin Booker, Devin Booker, D'Lo, and Cat wouldn't have been a great duo? They would have been. They would have been great. But we have Anthony Edwards, baby, and he is on another level. I think that him and Devin Booker, honestly, this series could be for supremacy of best shooting guard in the league. And I honestly believe that. I think we have the best two shooting guards in the league. And I know that other people are going to have to step up. Mike Conley's probably going to have to average 15 to 17 points in the playoffs. But guess what? Mike Conley's been to the Western Conference Finals before. Mike Conley has had a ton of playoff experience with both Utah and the Memphis Grizzlies. So Mike Conley's been there. He knows how to play in tough games. Now, wouldn't that just be amazing to get Mike Conley to his first ever championship? Man, that would be something. And I know he'd be eternally grateful to this franchise. I am just so excited because, like I said in the other podcast, Chris Finch has never had, in the history of his coaching career here in Minnesota, he's never had an entire week to get ready. That's the difference. That is the difference in the past playoff series. In the game in 2021 and 2022, getting ready for Memphis, how many games did Chris Finch have? He had a couple days because they went Tuesday to Saturday. How many days did Chris Finch have to prepare for the Denver Nuggets without Naz Reid and Jaden McDaniels? He had like a day and a half to get ready for the Denver Nuggets. I am sure that Chris Finch has been obsessing, toiling over a plan to beat the Phoenix Suns. Now, obviously, the rebuttal is, well, the Suns have had the same amount of time to get ready for the Wolves. And that's fair. I'm just saying, let's Chris Finch cook. And I think that he has learned from his past blunders in the playoffs of not calling timeouts. I think he's gotten much better at calling stingy timeouts. He even calls timeouts when you wouldn't expect him to call timeouts. I think he's almost overcorrected on that. But I think to a positive manner. But the last thing I want to say, this is going to be kind of a short podcast. Let's get excited, Minnesota fans. This is a blast. Let's not get doom and gloom on the matchup. Let's go out there and take the matchup. How many years do we get to this point of the year and we have 15 wins or something and we got to look forward to June? Not because of the NBA Finals. That's not why we're looking forward to June. We're looking forward to June because, oh, maybe we'll get something nice with the 5th or 4th pick. Oh, I can't wait for the draft lottery. No. We don't got to worry about any of that right now. What we are worried about is pulling off what a lot of NBA writers and NBA analysts, I'm not saying all of them because some of them have been positive to us, including yours truly. I don't want to call myself a writer, but I was in high school. Anyway, we have an opportunity here to shock the NBA world and go to the second round. And I think this is going to be a battle of a series. Of course, I said in my last podcast, I had Wolves in 7. And that's exactly what I am sticking with. I know all the numbers say Suns, but hey, I'm going to believe that Karl Anthony Towns can put up 25 a night. I'm going to believe that Jaden McDaniels can hit some clutch shots. I'm going to believe that Mike Conley can make some plays and turn into a score-first point guard. And I'm going to believe that Anthony Edwards takes the next step towards being the best player in the league. I'm not saying he's the best player in the league yet. I believe that's far and away Nikola Jokic. But I think he takes the next step to eventually be there. I think it's going to be him and Luka, and I don't think there's going to be much else. Maybe you can argue Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. The only thing that that's going to be interesting, if Anthony Edwards can avoid, because like Chris was saying on our last podcast, the whistle gets a little more stingy in the playoffs. The whistle from usually the ref puts away their whistles a little bit in the playoffs, particularly in the clutch situations. Can Anthony Edwards keep his cool, not blow up? I would hate to see Anthony Edwards be thrown out of a playoff game. That would just be devastating. I think he's up to the task. I think he knows that the playoffs is a whole new ball game. And get excited, Minnesota fans, because the playoff run starts tomorrow, and I'm here for it. I hope you are too. Anyway, this is the Running with the Wolves podcast on the Believe Sports Network. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Pocket Casts or whatever you're listening on, give us a 5-star rating and follow us as well. And as always, go Wolves. Wolves in 7, baby. Let's go.